Oops, that's good. Okay. But Naftali, we learned last night. We did an Ahmad. Naftali, you with me?
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't be there because I'm doing the Siyum today in my shul. So
very nice.
I had to get ahead. Prepare.
Okay.
So where did you get to?
We got to Pei Aleph on the bottom. So Plimai.
Oh,
Story of Plimai.
we'll sail through Pei Bays.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start today 5 or 6 lines? 6 lines from the bottom on 81A. Right? Pei Aleph Amud Aleph. Thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day, and the source of our learning we should have Beis Hamikdash immediately.
Amen.
So, Plimai have a regular meimar called Yom Magir Beinei the Satan. Plimai would taunt the Satan. He would say, an arrow in the eyes of the Satan. It would like crush the Satan. The Yitzhahara. Yom Echad, one day, Mali Yom Kippur Havi. It was Erev Yom Kippur. Idmilei Kanya, and the Satan appears by the door like a poor person, a beggar. Also Karababa. He knocks on the door, comes and knocks on the door. Fikle Rifta, so they give him some bread. Amalei, so the Satan says, Yom Kippur, Kuli Amagavoy Vanav, right? A day like today, the whole world is inside, and I'm gonna stand outside. Everyone's like sitting and eating a meal. You're handing me bread, I should wait outside and eat it outside on the street. So Aile is right, they brought him in. Krivale Rifta, they brought him bread inside. Amalei, so he says, Yom Kippur, Kuli Amagavoy. A day like today, everyone is sitting around the table together with the family and eating, and you're giving me bread in the front room. I want to, be sitting with the family. He's right. So they set him down at the table. Yosef Mali Nafshe. He was sitting he was Mila Nafshi Shichna Kiviala. He filled his body up with sores, boils, and like blisters that pus was coming out of it. Be covered by Mili Demas. He was doing things that were disgusting. What was he doing? I'm not sure. Well, what's the base? Does it say over there what he was doing? Something that gross. Amalei, they told him, Tiv Shafir, sit properly. That's like a school expression. Sit straight, put your feet down. Amalei. So he says, Havali Kasa, give me a cup of wine to drink. Yavali Kasa, so they gave him something to drink. Achmar, he coughed. Shadabe Kicha, he spat into it, his phlegm. Nachrube. Now, Nachrube means they yelled at him. Is that what it says over there? They yelled at him. They scolded him. Okay. They yelled at him. So, Saka Umis, he feigned dead. He made believe like he was dead. He died. Put on a show. So Shamo David Kamri, then he hears, or he has them hear that from outside. Plima Katal Gavra. That Plima killed a man. Plima Katal Gavra. Plima killed a man. I guess like the Satan makes as an angel, so he can make announcements coming from the outside that Plima killed someone. Plima thinks the police are coming. So Arak, he runs, Tashan Nafshed Bebesakisi, and he hides in the bathroom. Azul Basrei. So the Satan follows him. And Nafal Kameh, he falls down. This is Plima falls down. Ki the Chazye Davimistar, when he sees that Plima was really disturbed about what's going on, so he reveals to him that it's him, the Satan, that's doing this. Amalei, my time, Amrasachi, how come you keep saying every day, You say Girabeni the Satan, that you an arrow in the eyes of the Satan. Why you keep taunting me and cursing me? What do you want me to say? Let the master say Rachmana Nigar be Satan, that the Eibishter should scold the Satan, should yell at the Satan. Is that how they translate it there? Merciful one. Should save us from the evil inclination, but not that the Satan should be harmed. Just he should save us from the Satan. I guess that's different.
Are we just past Rabbi Chaim?
No, we're up to that. We're up to Barashi. No. That's the next one. Barashi says that we should save us. What is this? Rebuke. So it's rebuke the Satan. So I don't know why this is better, but for some reason it's better than saying an arrow in the eyes of the Satan. Okay. Yeah, what he wants to do over here with these expressions, what he wants to do is he wants to be saved from the Yetzer Hara. So he's giving these expressions that he doesn't like the Yetzer Hara, right? He wants the Yetzer Hara to go. Yetzer Hara, go away, come again, right? Another day, something like that.
Satan advised that the correct approach was not to curse him, but to entreat God for assistance in the battle. To withstand.
Okay. Now, who are you quoting there? It can't be Zachariah. What does it say?
It says Zachariah 3:2. It's number 3.
See Zachariah 3:2. Certainly advise Prima not to curse him, but to seek for assistance. So no, 1 second. What's Zachariah 3:2? It doesn't go because how do I go back?
I'm not too practical with that yet.
Because you don't have that book. So, yeah, sure. You know how to go back?
And
you have to buy that book for it to go.
They give it to you for free. It says on the internet.
Okay.
And the Marsha made a comment that the same way that the Satan appeared to him harmless, like the same way he does to us.
Okay. The Marsha says, Hillel's telling me that the art scroll quotes of Marsha. The Marsha compares this to the Gemara and Sukkah that first the Yetzer Hara comes as a guest, as by the door, then he becomes the guest, and then he becomes the host. So like he slowly takes over. That's like the Yetzer Hara. It tells you just take a look at this, just try it once. And then you try it once, then you try it again and again and again, and then it's like you can't get rid of it. Okay. Rabbi Barashi, Haviragel Kalidin, every time Rabbi Barashi, every time he would say Tachnan, he would fall on his face. I mean, how they say Tachnan. Aviyamar, he would say Harachaman Yatzilenu Yetzer Hara. He would say Harachaman should save us from the Yetzer Hara. That's what we should say in benching, all the Harachamans. But that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the benching. Huh? Yeah, they say in brachas. Yaim Echad, one day, Shamatinu Debisu, his wife hears him. Amr, she says, Mechti, says, well, what's going on over here? Kamishani the Paris Lemina. It's already been years. He's been separated from me. That meant he was like older and he didn't have the strength for relations. So what's he saying? Hashem should save him from the Yetzer Hara. He doesn't even have strength. My time, why is he saying this? Well, one time he was studying in the garden, and she dressed herself up. Khalfa Vitanya Kameh. She went back, she walked around him like once and then again. Tanya is like she repeated. She went back. Amar Allah, he said to her, Manat, who are you? Because she was all dressed up. He didn't recognize this the gown and the makeup and everything. So Amra Ana Charusa Dahachi Miyayma. I'm Charusa. Charusa was the name of a Zaina prostitute that was a popular name back then. I don't know the comparable ones today, but
prostitutes had that name?
No, this was a name of a famous,
It's a proper noun.
proper noun. It was someone's name. And that I finished my day's work. I guess he didn't know what she looked like or something. Whatever. Anyway, Tava, he says, be with me. Amrale, she says, I see now lahach rumna, the reish tzisa, get for me that branch on the top of the palm tree. So Shavar, he jumps, and he brings it. Yes, okay, and he lives with her. The Gemara doesn't say that, but that's the.
It's a pomegranate.
Oh, you have a pomegranate? That makes sense because rumna is like a why I wrote down branch. What does it say over there?
Bring me the
Pomegranate.
uppermost branch.
Oh, the reish tzisa would be the branch. Tzisa would be the branch. Good.
And then here it says, the notes in the bottom says, apparently, as your free Rashi interprets from the uppermost branch of the palm tree. That's why probably you have the palm tree.
Yeah, I have palm tree here, but how do you get pomegranates from palm trees? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry? It's a what? It's the best kind of palm. Okay.
This is it.
It must have been a coconut.
Here it says that
Right. That's added in. But the Gemara doesn't say that. But that's the implied. So Kiyasa Lebese, when he comes home, his wife was lighting the oven. Salak he went up and he climbs inside, goes and sits inside the oven. Amrullah, she says, "My hi, what are you doing in the oven?" So Amrullah, he says to her, he says, "This is what happened. I lived with this charusa." Amrullah, I know how that was me. But he doesn't believe her. Until she gave signs that he said, yes, it was. You said this or that or whatever. Okay. So then he believed it. Yes, someone told me that as a relative, that's a shliach. Anyway, the shliach was always busy for the family. Always busy with this, helping this person, helping that person. The wife was never home for the wife. Always busy helping everyone. Anyway, so the wife calls up his cell phone, from like a payphone or something. She says, "Hi, my name is this. I want to meet with you. I have something to discuss." Anyway, she says, "Okay, we'll meet at this and this coffee shop or something." So, anyway, he set a time. He goes. She goes to the coffee shop. She meets with her husband. That's the way. It's the only way she could get a time was to make believe she's one of the congregants. Okay. Anyway,
He didn't recognize his wife.
No, she played the voice. She made a different voice. Yeah, I guess I hope he learned his lesson. So anyway, so but nevertheless, I intended for sin. He didn't know that it was his wife. He intended that it was someone else. It was Charusa. He the whole life of this tzaddik, Barashi, he fasted and he passed away from this death. What is this death? I guess from
excessive fasting.
Excessive fasting.
Would that be considered like suicide?
Hillel's asking an interesting question. If it's suicide, if someone is trying to do tshuva, he's trying to do tshuva, if that's considered suicide. That's an interesting question.
What's that, Rabbi?
No, the person is not allowed to take his life. But if he feels guilty of some sin and he's trying to atone for that sin, and in that process he ends up dying, is that considered like he killed himself? Or is that considered his rectification of whatever? What do you say? He fasted and he died from malnutrition. Yeah.
It says here from excessive fasting.
There was that story of about Truba that kind of was went overseas to deal with someone who didn't want him. He was like this woman, right? And he did tshuva, but
Rav ben Dedaya, yeah.
yeah.
The Gemara of
Yeah.
Zara talks about Rav ben Dedaya, that his soul left him when he was crying.
He didn't cause himself to die. Like, he just died from
Yeah,
the
that wasn't
harm.
something that was yeah, maybe we would say that over there. That was just his feeling that he had. That wasn't like an actual cause. But he's gonna say that he shouldn't have felt that. Here is something that he actually did, consciously did.
Well, the Rebbe talked about this when people would write him and suggested they wanted to do tshuva for some of areas they did before they did tshuva, Bali tshuva. And the Rebbe did not take a happy view
Right.
of that at all.
Right.
All right.
There was one comment I think that the Rebbe quoted the Rebbe Marash that said if you want to fast, you should make a tainus dibur instead of fasting. You take an hour not to speak or something, or a day not to speak. So that was instead of actual fast.
The letter that I read, the Rebbe said, "Go out and make another Jew for me."
Oh, yeah, that's the common one. That's the common. Yeah, you get someone else to do whatever the mitzvah is that you wanted to do tshuva for.
Finally, said that to use money.
Yeah, in Tanya it talks about redeeming fast with money. That's true. Okay.
And he already had like a suicidal mindset when he was thinking about putting himself in the oven.
Yeah, he went into the oven. Yeah. Okay. The doctor's going to say you should pay up front. Okay. The Tanya was taught in the Brisa. Isha Ferim Hashem Yisachla. The pasuk is talking about the vows. It's talking about a person that takes a woman that takes a vow. The husband can annul his wife's vow. And interesting, it says that the husband can annul the vow, and Hashem will atone for her. And the Gemara asks that what's it talking about? Isha Shenadra B'Nazir, talking about that a woman that took a vow that she's going to be a Nazira. She's not going to drink wine and be contaminated. B'Shama Baila, the husband hears V'Harfala and he annuls the vow. V'Hila Yada Shefala Baila, and she doesn't know that the husband annulled the vow. She thinks that she still has the vow. And she's drinking wine. She thinks she's committing a sin, and really it's not a sin. So that's why it says that her husband annuls the vow, and Hashem will forgive her because she needs actually atonement, because it was in her mind it was a sin, even though it wasn't a sin. We see from here that if someone intends to do a sin, even if it wasn't really a sin, if someone thinks you go into a restaurant, they think I'm going to eat something really treif, they find out that they happen to be kosher. So they still need atonement. Rabbi Akiva, when he would come to this pasuk, Havibachi would cry. Amar, he said, "Mami, someone intended to eat pig, and instead he eats lamb." The Torah says that he needs atonement because his intention is because of his intention. If he wants to eat pig and he ends up eating pig, for sure he should need atonement. Similarly, we see we're talking about the Hashem Tali, the guilt offering that a person brings when he commits a sin, but he's not sure if he committed. He ate a piece of meat on the table. He doesn't know if it was a treif, if it was the chalev, or if it was the kosher fat. Well, Kashaya Rabbi Akiva. So it says that he doesn't know, and he's guilty, and he carries the guilt. When Rabbi Akiva would reach this pasuk, Rabbi Akiva Megillah pasuk Zayabaychi cried, "Mami sheneskavan lechol shuman b'alabiyadi chalev." Someone that's intending to eat kosher meat, but instead he eats treifa meat. Yeah. Amra terribly. The Vashem ben Asavain Torah says that he carries his guilt. For sure, he's guilty if he actually ends up eating chalev. Isi ben Yuda Imer V'Yada Vashem ben Asavain al Davar Zei Davar Kol Adavim. Isi ben Yuda says that this verse tells us that if a person doesn't know and he's guilty, he carries the guilt, he carries the sin. So this is something that all the warriors should worry about, because it shows how severe it is to commit a sin, that even if you didn't intend for the sin, there still is guilt. for sure if you intend and commit, there's guilt. The next section here says, person could be secluded together with his mother. That's not considered yichud, right? Yichud is a man and woman, but not a person with his mother. Rav Yudah Ravasi. Yudah says the name of Ravasi. A person can temporarily live in the same or be in the same house with his sister, not permanently, but temporarily. A brother and sister can be in the same house. But he's allowed to live permanently in his mother's house or have his mother live with him and also with his daughter. However, when Rav Yehuda went to Shmuel later, Amar, so Shmuel says, Shmuel said, no, you can't live with any of the relatives, even with an animal. You can't live. I mean, the person can't have a dog or something. Tanan, it was taught in the Mishnah.
Two cats.
It doesn't fit with our Mishnah. The Mishnah says a person could be secluded with his mother, with his daughter, and he can even sleep in the same bed. It's Yufta de Shmuel. This is a Kash on Shmuel. Amalach Shmuel. So Shmuel would respond to that question. According to you, Hadatani, this said was taught in the Brisa. It says his sister. We have a Brisa that says his sister and his mother-in-law and all other close relatives that would be prohibited to marry. A person can only be together with them if there's witnesses. Without witnesses, he should not be together with them. Rather, it must be that we're getting ourselves into a machlaikas. And we're looking at Shmuel and we're saying it's contradicting the Mishnah. Mishnah's contradicting what Shmuel said. Turns out that there's a machlaikas in the Brises. The Tanya was started in a Brise. Summer of Meir. Meir says, Izaru bi be careful that I shouldn't be secluded with my daughter. That means don't leave the house while my daughter's here. Reb Tarfon says, Izaru bi kalasi. Be careful because my daughter-in-law's here. That's already something that would be a real yichud that we would hold up. The Mishnah says the opposite, right? The Mishnah says the opposite. So that's the Gemara's question. The Mishnah says the opposite. Right, the Tarfon says the daughter-in-law, and Talmud, and this one student starts to laugh. Reb Chanina ben Gamliel. Reb Avo says the name of Reb Chanina ben Gamliel. It wasn't only a few days. It wasn't a few days that went by, and this Talmud that laughed at Reb Tarfon needed to be careful with his daughter-in-law. That this student himself lived with his mother-in-law. Whoa. Okay, now the Gemara quotes what Shmuel said, Afilu in Behema. That a person can't live, it can't be together in a room, even with an animal. Abaya Mikala Mikula Dabra. When Abaya would go outside, he would chase the animals out of the whole Dabra means the desert or field. What does it say? What's the Dabra? The field. Dabra's the field. Rav Sheshes Marvelei Mitzvah. Rav Sheshes would put them behind the fence. Rav Chanan ben Yardai Yikul Rav Kana Pumnara. Rav Chanan ben Yardai comes to Rav Kana of Pumnara. Chazid Yosef Kagaris V'Kaima Behema Kamei. Sees that he's learning, and there's an animal there. He's learning, and there's the dog is running around the house.
We say two cats, just
two cats. What does that do?
Okay. Part of the movement to try to liberate Jeff.
Oh. Uh-huh. So says there's an animal there. So Amarle says, I'm sorry. Amarle, you don't hold up what it says that even with an animal you shouldn't be secluded. Amarle Lavadaita, I didn't realize the animal was here. Okay. Amar Rava. I think it does say in halacha. I think it says that a woman should not have a male dog. I think it says that. think I saw that. Okay, anyway. Rava says that a person could be in the same room together with two Yavamis. That means two sister-in-laws. That would probably means that his brother passed away and left two wives. Or maybe not. No, state Tzaris would mean no. State Yavamis means two wives of the same two widows of the same deceased brother. State Tzaris, or any two wives of any married women.
Can a brother do even two sisters?
You can only marry one of them. Only one. So, or two, he can be in the same house, same room with two tzaras, two co-wives, rival wives. Emisha v'chamaisa, or a woman and her mother-in-law. Emisha bita, or a woman and her, I'm sorry, not Isha bita, Isha basbaila. Actually, Isha bita could be also, but a woman and her husband's daughter. Isha v'tinaika, a woman and her daughter, that as long as she's old enough to know what relations are, but she was not old enough to actually desire relations. We're talking about like the child that would know what's considered inappropriate, but it's not old enough to actually be a problem of yichud. So we're talking about that people that would not cover up for each other because there's a dislike for them, like a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law are two co-wives that they would like to see the other person do something wrong, so the other person is careful not to do anything in front of them. They don't want to, right? So that's considered a protection. Once they get older, then they can't sleep in the parent and child can't sleep in the same bed if they're not dressed. Bekama, how old is considered older? Amar Rav Ada bar Rav Aza, Rav Acha maybe. Amar Rav Asi. There's different versions to this Gemara. This is Rashi's version. That a girl would be 9 years old, and Tinik ben Shtemes Yishana v'Yemechad, and a boy would be 12 years old. Ikadami, there are those that say Tinik Spashtemes Yishana v'Yemechad, that a girl is 12 years old, and a boy Tinik is ben Shalish v'Yemechad, and a boy is 13. So it's either 9 and 12 or 12 and 13. There's another version that the Bach brings that it's 3 years old and 9 years old. 3 years old for a girl and 9 years old for a boy. I think that's what we've heard before. This is talking about where the girl is old enough that the breasts are starting to form and she's already growing hair. Apparently, these opinions hold that hair that makes a person considered mature, the pubic hair, that would be only if it comes at a certain age. If it comes earlier, it's not a sign of maturity. It's just considered like hair that's growing on the mole. They're just hair, but it's not a sign of maturity. So, but if they've reached the age of 9 or 12 or 12 and 13, then the hair that grows according to that opinion is considered hair of maturity, and that's means that they're mature and they shouldn't be together in the same bed with the parent. Amar Rafram bar Papa Amar Rav Chisda. Rafram bar Papa says in the name of Rav Chisda, this is only talking about where the child is that young that he's not embarrassed to stand naked. Once the child knows that he's naked, then it's usher. When you have little kids, they run outside without their diaper on, and the parents are like, "No, you can't." I was like, "Why? What's the problem?" There's no. They don't even know there's an issue. So at that age, then there's no problem. Once they already know that no, this is something that they shouldn't do. So then that's too old. Right, they're just like Adam and Eve, right? Exactly. Yeah, because the whole world was young back then. Around that, yeah. I think it discusses when are you supposed to say Amen to children's brachas. I think it says like when they're old enough to understand what they're really saying. So
parents were saying like Amen.
So one of the ways of telling that is when they're singing brachas in the bathtub, then they're still too young.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what's the reason for this? My time of Yetzer Albasha. At the time when they realize that they're not dressed, and that's considered embarrassing, that's the time that the Yetzer Hara is already enclosed in them. Ravacha bar Abba ikla lebeir Rav Chisda chasne. Ravacha bar Yaakov comes to his chasne, means his son-in-law. Yeah, it's probably Rav Chanan bar Rabba on the side of the Gemara. It says Rav Chanan bar Rabba. Rav. It says Rav Chanan bar Rabba. You have Ravacha bar Abba. On the side of my Gemara it says Rav Chanan bar Rava. Now Rav had a son-in-law, Rav Chanan bar Rava, and Rav Chanan bar Rava had a son-in-law, Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda had a son-in-law, Rava. Right. So there's the descendants of the line is passed down, from Rav, Rav to the grandson of Rav would be Rav Chisda. His grandson would be Rav's children. Anyway, what happened over here is that Rav Chisda's father-in-law shows up to Rav Chisda's house. Shakli labas brate. He takes his daughter's daughter, and puts him in his, I guess it means in his arms. Yeah. He gives her a hug. This is, we'll see in a second. Amalei, they said to this father-in-law, to Rav Chanan bar Rava or Rav Acha bar Rabba, he says, don't you know that she's married already? This is probably the girl that was on Rav Chisda's lap when he said, which one of these students would you like to marry? Rava or Rami or Maruk or Rami bar Chama? She said both. Anyway, she's already betrothed. Amalei, he says, you're not supposed to marry off your daughter as a child. That's shetagla v'tem rich until she gets older. And she says, I want this one. So Marnami, the Shmuel, they said, but you just violated what Shmuel says. You're not allowed to use a woman. That means that you're not supposed to hug a girl, even if it's a daughter or whatever. I hold like another Shmuel. Shmuel said that if it's for the intention of heaven, that meant, what does it mean? Rashi says that it was in order to show the daughter how much the grandfather loves to show his daughter how much the grandfather loves the granddaughter. That the daughter should think that her daughter's cute, which is important. That's the job of the grandparents, to tell the children that their children are cute. Okay. We have a new mission here on Pebez. It's the last stuff. Layilmad Adam Ravak Seifrim. This is a funny. It seems like there's an extra word in there. I think it's supposed to say Rashi at least has Layilmad Ravak Seifrim. A Ravak is a bachelor. A bachelor should not be a teacher. Seifrim means a school, like they would study how to write. So it's called Seifrim. A bachelor shouldn't be a teacher. Like Talmudisha Seifrim, and a woman shouldn't be a teacher. There goes the whole profession. Yeah, there goes the whole. When you go to these, not necessarily. We'll see in a second. We're talking about it when I guess when they get older, maybe. I don't know. No, maybe not. When you go to these conferences, like where they have like teachers and these seminars and all of this, it's like one man per 100 women teachers. It's that's how it is. Okay. Rabbi Elazar Omer Af Mishain Leisha Liyom Tzayfim, not only a bachelor, but even someone that's not married, that at this point is not married, shouldn't be a teacher. Rabbi Yudaim, we'll see in the Gemara, we'll explain a little bit. Rabbi Yudah says Layira Ravak Behema, a bachelor shouldn't be a shepherd for animals. And two bachelors should not sleep in the same with the same blanket. Chacham say that's not a problem. Okay. My time of the Gemara says, what's the reason for this? Where a bachelor shouldn't be a teacher? Are you worried about that they're going to be inappropriate with the children? But Tanya, but they have a brisa where Rabbi Yehuda says that a bachelor shouldn't be with an animal and they shouldn't sleep in the same talus. They told Rabbi Yehuda, "Lay next to Yisrael mishkav zachav le'el behema." Jewish people aren't suspected of homosexual behavior and also not suspected of bestiality. Bestiality of living with animals. It's not something that you have to be concerned of. Well, Ella Ravak Misham Amasad Yanuki. The problem with the bachelor being the teacher is that the mother shows up to bring the children and they schmooze over there. And that's not appropriate because it could lead to other things. Isha Misham Amasad Yanuki. The woman shouldn't be the teacher because the father shows up and brings the children, and that's also. Who's left? I don't know. Do you think so?
Otherwise,
does it say any comment in the art scroll about when it says the Ravak is a single man? But what about the woman? Does it mean a single girl? It doesn't mean any woman.
The bachelor teacher will be.
What about the woman? Does it mean that she's a bachelor? How do you say a woman that's not married? Don't say bachelor. What do you say? Bachelorette. Bachelorette.
I think even today,
Bachura.
I mean, listen, today, for example, practice, people have a female teacher teaching boys of a certain grade usually.
Right. And that would be a concern because of the boys, not because of the father that's bringing them. So here,
I think it was also similar to this, where it was more strict on the male.
oh,
Last night.
uh-huh.
It was.
Oh yeah, when they were walking in, when the women are in the back, and the men in the front. Okay.
Is this just regarding women who are single or married?
That's what I'm not suggesting, that it's only women that are single. That's what he's suggesting.
He's even more
With
than
kids, like, so single women who had kids, like,
That are teaching, talking about that are teachers.
okay, because it says over here that it seems like it's a zera that teacher might teach kids who have their parents
Bring them
their
to the
mothers
school.
come-
Uh-oh,
bring
our
them to
scroll
school.
does not agree with Aaron Nussbaum.
So that just seems different.
Say, article says any woman.
So the woman, on the other hand, generally teaches privately in her home, and therefore there's a fear when the father brings the child to her, the prohibition of youth. Violated thus, even if she's married.
Oh.
She's forbidden to teach as long as her husband's not present. Bach, Evan, Ezra.
Talking about the woman is in her house. That would be a woman being a private tutor. The husband, the father of the child, is going to bring him to the house. Okay.
It's like it's the opposite. Oh, this person's married, so no one's going to do anything because he or she's married. But that makes it even worse according to Allah.
No, actually not. Because if the husband is in town, then it makes it better. It was last night we studied about if there's husband. Were you there last night? This page had a leniency if the husband's in town, so it's like a protection for the wife.
I think we were talking about
I think so. Yeah. Right.
The husband in town was the one that was more strict. It wasn't only about the room and the house.
Oh, the husband in town. That's what you were talking about. Husband in town was a leniency for the woman, but it was the wife in town is not a leniency for the that's what we said. Okay, okay. Rabbi Lezer also someone that doesn't have a wife should not be a teacher, even if they're not a bachelor. That means they were married. What is Rabbi Lezer saying? Are we talking about that he doesn't have a wife right now at all? Or it just means maybe the wife is not home, or maybe he's not at home, but he has a wife at home. Well, Tashma, come and listen. We actually have a brisa that says that if the wife is not in town, she should not be a teacher. They have to be the teacher should have his wife at home. In other words, they should be together. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer lo yira. Rabbi Yehuda says that a bachelor should not be a shepherd. Tanya Amalei Rabbi Yehuda le'nachli yisrael mishkav zachav le'al. They argued with him. They said that there's no problem with that. Jewish people aren't suspected of that. Why specifically a bachelor? They says because a bachelor desires more than a married person, more imaginations. Okay, the Mishnah says, Kol she'asaka v'manashim le'yistachin v'manashim. Here we say that anyone that's his business is with women, then he shouldn't be secluded with women, even if it's more than one. Usually, if there's more than one woman, one man with several women was a problem also. But what about many women? Said one man with two women was a problem. No, one woman with two men was not a problem. Men, but over here we're saying that even if there's many women, apparently that would have been acceptable. Oh, maybe that. Yeah, okay, that could be an answer to this problem. Oh, Shalish Arba Shapadam. Yeah, the Gemara said before that if it's 3 or 4 women, that would be acceptable. Over here, we're saying that it's not acceptable for someone that's his businesses with him, because they may cover up for him. They may cover up of what they're doing because of they have a close relationship. A person should not teach his children a craft that's a woman's craft, or a craft that would end up having the son be associated with women. You know what that would be? Different types of doctors or something. What is it? Shekelmacher. Yeah. What the nail thing? What do they call the people that do the nails?
Vietnamese.
What? Is that what is it?
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese is the people that do that. Okay. A person should teach his son a easy, clean trade. You should just dive into Hashem that the money will come in.
Amen.
Because the trade is there's no trade that doesn't have poor people and rich people. Like not every single person in stocks is rich, right? The poverty doesn't come from the trade, and the wealth doesn't come from the trade. It has to do with the merits that. Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, have you ever seen a wild animal or a bird that has a trait? And they seem to be doing fine. Not if you watch those animal videos, how they have to hunt.
It's a little bit like a Hanan joke about planning on living forever.
Living forever. Right.
Not Rushmore.
So, yeah. But you do see the ants. I mean, if you don't have an exterminator, you do see the ants. They look like they're doing fine. You know, they see them, taking all the thing and So, and all of those were created just to serve me. And I was created to serve my maker. This is Reb Shimon ben Elazar, a student of Reb Meir. Is it not like a kal v'chomer that I should be able to live without pain? Because of my sins, I've lost my parnasa. So it's really the merits. What he's saying is how a person makes his parnasa. Okay, a person should not train his son to be chamar, a donkey driver, because they steal a lot from the properties that they're going by. They take twigs and different things. Gamal is a camel driver. Kadar is a potter. I'm not sure what's wrong with that. Sapon is a sailor. Roya. Oh, a kadar is a wagon driver. There's a wagon driver because they sell their pots like that, and then they would end up stealing from properties, that Roya is a shepherd, and a shepherd I thought was a good trade. Chenveni is a storekeeper. Shemnusanum listus, because all of them are stealing. That's it's very difficult not to steal. Rabbi Yudaim Mishmai is at Chavetz Chaim at a store, but he couldn't handle it. He said it was so like difficult to do everything accurate. He had to leave. I think his wife took it over. Anyway,
he never like got a job. He was so perfectionist.
Right. You know, when he sold his books, he turned every single page to make sure that everything was printed properly. I saw a sefer that was from the Chavetz Chaim, the Mishnah Berurah, and it said on the top, it said Muka. That meant that it checked through it to make sure all the pages wasn't printed with a folded page because it would have been it was like very particular. There's actually a letter in the Rebbe's library. He's to the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab bought a Mishnah Berurah, and he sent a little bit extra money. And there's a letter from the Chavetz Chaim to him saying that he gave me a little bit extra money. It was like something like sending it back. I saw it in the display case in the Rebbe's library. Anyway.
Woo! Birthdays tomorrow.
So where are we holding? These are bad jobs, we're saying. Rabbi Yudah says in his name, whose name? I guess Abba Goria. He says, the majority of the donkey drivers are wicked. But the majority of the camel drivers are not. Now, what's going on? The donkey drivers are stealing, but the camel drivers, because they are in the desert and there's wild animals, and they're always afraid, so they're always doing tshuva, because when you see a lion, Asapanim Ruben Chasidim, the sailors are pious, because they're always afraid. They're even more afraid than when you see a cloud. It's like So Taif Shabaray from the Gehenim, the best of the doctors go to.
Yeah, where's our doctor?
Okay, Rashi. What does Rashi say on this? They're not afraid of sickness because they think that the pills that they know about are gonna help them, and sometimes they actually kill people, and also they could really heal the poor, but they don't, because I guess they didn't pay enough or whatever.
Right insurance.
Yeah, they don't have the right insurance. Yeah, I heard doctor's pshat. The doctor's pshat goes like this. This is for Dr. Stein. It says that the best doctors go to Gehenim. Why? Because it says on Rosh Hashanah how many doctor bills a person's going to have to pay. So a good doctor, he doesn't charge you. So what that means is that because in Rosh Hashanah it was determined how much he's going to, the guy has to get sick again, because if he doesn't, Taif Shabaray from the guy is really making people sick when he doesn't charge. That's the doctor's interpretation of this.
It's also that good
sorry?
doctors probably have a very big ego. Right? They're the best doctors.
Yeah, did Rashi say that? Something like that. Now it says about kosher shevet tabachim or teif shevet tabachim. The best butchers shutfei shel amalek, the partners with amalek. I don't know why it's amalek specifically, but it sounds like, at least from Rashi, that they're having some questionable treifas, different things, and they're just selling it. It's probably good. And Rabbi Neirai says, I'm going to leave all trades. I'm only going to teach my son to go to Kailal. A person eats his reward in this world, and he gets the principle in the world to come. All other crafts, it's not like that. A person gets sick and he can't do his work, so he dies from hunger. When it comes to Torah, it's not so. It guards him when he's young, and it gives him hope when he's old. What does it say when he's young? Those that hope in Hashem have renewed strength. It says when they're old, they're still giving fruit. It says by Avram, Hashem blessed Avram with everything. Matzino Shasa Avram Avinu Skal Ter Kulach Leinitna. You find that Avram Avinu did the entire Torah before it was given. Because Avram has listened to my voice, he guarded my guardings, mitzvahs, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Tanur Rabbanu was taught in the Brisa. I'm sorry?
An inn.
Oh, so how was he able to keep the Torah? Yeah, he was making money, yeah. He actually was charging them hefty prices.
Big money.
If they didn't bench, that is.
Quote directly from Horatius.
Yeah, it's not voracious, but it's yeah. It's last week. Anyone that's businesses with women, his behavior is bad. Going hatzarfim means he's inclined to do bad. In hatzarfim, this would be like goldsmiths that they're making like these little things for the women. Basrikim, are they making combs? If they're combing the women's hair, they're combing the wool. They make combs for the women to do the wool, the cards, the carding, or maybe it's combs for and the Kurdish people that clean the mill. The mill has two stones. You put the grain through a hole in the top stone, and then you turn it, and it crushes it. You have to clean it out sometimes because it stops. And peddlers, they sell little trinkets. Vagadim is weavers. Vastaparim are barbers. The women take their children to the barber. Vakivsim are launderers. That's clothing. Vahagara is bloodletters. Vahabalon is bath attendants. Borsaki is tanners. Ein ma'amidim, from these. Ein ma'amidim mehem leimelech leikain gadol. Kain gadol can't be someone that had one of these jobs. My time. What's the reason? Leimishum depsil. It's not because they're puzzle. Leimishum dezilim nasayo, because they are. It's a low type of craft. People won't respect them. And these official positions, very high positions, need to earn the respect of the people. What are the president's jobs? What did they do before besides for actors? Lawyers and stuff, right? Did we have any doctor presidents?
No. Roosevelt?
Was Roosevelt the doctor? Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Senator
Bannon. Oh, because they had a PhD. Okay, Tanur Rabbanan. Asara Dvarim Nemru Begara. There's 5 things that it says about a bloodletter. Mahalich al Tzidei. I'm not sure what that means. It says he walks on his side, type of arrogant type of walk. Ruche Gasa has a high spirit. Benitla V'Yoshev. He doesn't really sit. He sort of sits and doesn't. It's an arrogant type of behavior. Einay Tzara. He's very stingy. Einay Ra. He's very jealous. Eichel Harbe, he eats a lot because after they do bloodletting, people have a big meal, and he goes to the meal as well, like as if he had just let the blood, so he eats together with them. Maitzi Kima, but he it sounds like he's constipated. Chashad al Arayas, he's suspected for like committing adultery, Valagesel, and for stealing. How did Gesel get in here? Because the women that do bloodletting take the money from their husbands' purse and they don't tell the husband. And also for killing, because sometimes they don't leave enough blood. They take out too much. Darash bar kapara leilam yilmad adam espanei nakia v'kala. Bar kapara taught that a person should always teach his son a clean trade. Mahi. What is a clean trade? Amar Rav Yehuda, machta de talmiusa, a seamstress. I don't. Is that for a man? Seamstress, as you say, or seams? Embroidery. Okay. Suits, kapatas.
Exactly.
I would say a strymomacher.
Taylor.
A tailor. That's it. Tanya, Rabbi Yomer, all trades are going to continue. Nothing is going to stop. But happy is the one that sees his parents doing a upper class trade, but not a lower class trade. It's impossible for the world to exist without perfumes and without tanners. We need leather and we need perfume. But Baisim, I'm sorry, Baisim, but happy is the one whose profession is perfume, and woe is to the one that his profession is a tanner. The world can exist without. This is not going to be politically correct. The world is not possible without males and without females. But happy is the one whose children are males, and woe is to the one that his children are females.
They all have one kid, they all have a male.
The mayor says that a person should teach his son a clean trade, and then you daven, because the wealth doesn't come from the trade. Where does wealth come from? Only from the one that the wealth is his. Me is the silver, to me is the gold, says Hashem of hosts. Okay, let's leave the end of this for the Siyam. When is the Siyam? Sunday night, I guess. Sunday night. And unless we want to do something on Shabbos, but then we'll leave out the other. Let's do it Sunday night. Let's do Sunday night to Siyam.
Naftali coming.
But Sunday morning, bring a Baba Kama. We're not going to use the Kiddushin Sunday morning.
Naftali, you're going to drive over here on Sunday?
Let me say hi to Shalom.
Yeah, let me turn that recording.